Maria Aleandra and I were talking about just the internet right now, just being such a incredible, amazing place, and just lots of traffic right now.
Yeah.
That's where we all are, right, MA?
Yes, it is. My experience has been that it's over, it's absolutely saturated, which is great because it means a lot of people are connecting. And it always leaves me thinking, because I used to work for a television network, right? So different than this kind of technology. But I just remember being in that space of, this is the time when everybody in the operations world, everybody in the tech world are like hunkered down. I'm imagining them all at home having like powwow meetings to figure out how to optimize their systems on the back end, because all of a sudden now these tools are just ramped up. Things like Zoom, Facebook, Instagram. It even shows up on any kind of like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus. They always take a little bit longer to load now. I know, because we have a 3-year-old, so we watch a lot of Disney Plus at home. And now it's like, it just takes a while for it to like get going. So it's,
it's like 1980 or 1997. I almost said 87, but it's like 1997 again, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. So you just heard a lot of different things from my special guest today. So I wanted to say happy Monday. And I say happy Monday because, we've been having all these different kinds of conversations with our loved ones, with our coworkers, with strangers. And, one of the ha-has, one of the giggles, and one of the funnies that I've been experiencing is some of us are forgetting what day it is. MA, has that been your experience?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's part of the conversation we're going to have today, is how we've transitioned from being at least I more recently transitioned from being in a corporate space where there's a very clearly defined Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And as I've leaned into entrepreneurship, and then as my husband leaned into working with me, then really the only thing that kept us sane, it was like Skylar's school schedule. Like, the kids got to go to school and these are the days of the week. But now it's just a free for all. Like, today might as well be whatever day, which is actually kind of cool. I
think that's a new meme, a new hashtag, or a new t-shirt, whatever day.
Yeah, whatever day. Yeah.
10% of your no, kidding. Go have fun. And I will buy your shirt if you make a whatever day shirt. I seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hi, everyone. I wanted to just come on here. So I'm going to be joining you guys every day at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 Pacific Standard Time, because I have a whole big family and community out in San Diego. And, the purpose of me coming on every day is to share all of these conversations that I've been having just offline, if you will, just in my own private quarters, my own neck of the woods, as I've been calling it. And these conversations have been getting so good and so juicy that I'm like, I get to share these conversations. Mm-hmm. And the people that I am inviting on, and I want to let everyone watching, you're all invited on. We got time, y'all. We got time. You're all
everybody.
If you're interested in hopping on here with me, just email me, text me, DM me, whatever the kids are doing. I'm not on TikTok, so you can't. I don't even know what that is. Maybe we'll do a TikTok day for those of us who are 40 plus. Someone can come on.
That'd be fun.
And like TikTok.
Yeah.
So the purpose of doing this is to create conversation around possibility, our power, and peace of mind. So, for those of you who don't know me, I don't know how you're logging on or rewatching if somebody shared this replay with you. My name is Tiffany Hauser, and I am a transformational leadership coach, and I specialize in corporate America. Actually, corporate anywhere. I get to drop corporate anywhere. But I specialize in the workplace. I work with executives and leaders that are looking to elevate and transform their culture through the lens of diversity and inclusion, through leadership, through emotional intelligence, through mindset, performance, all that great stuff. And I work with leaders, entrepreneurs, and those who are aspiring to elevate up to their next potential. And, the conversations that we're going to be having every day are going to be about all aspects of our life. So our personal life, our professional journeys, our spiritual journey, and everything in between there. We're going to be talking about health and all that great stuff. So again, if any of that speaks to you and you want to join me, send me a message, DM me, hit me up, as they say in the club, hit me up. Y'all don't know, I used to work in clubs. So I got a lot to share. And I'm so thrilled and honored and just like so like lit up, as they say, to introduce you guys to my first guest, which you're looking at her right now, Maria Aleandra, which MA, and I call her MA. A lot of us call her MA, so you're going to hear me say MA a lot today. And if you're, you know, asking her a question today or reaching out to her directly, MA works, right?
Totally.
Amazing. So, MA, one of the things I was thinking about today is we haven't even known each other a year. Like next month will be our 1 year knowing anniversary.
Yes.
So I would love for you to just share with everyone who's watching who you are, who you be, and any other like yumminess you want to share with me.
I love that. I love that. Well, first of all, Tiffany, thank you. It's an honor to be your very first guest. And I know this is going to be a very juicy series. I love to see you in this space. I love to see you this lit up and really connecting and sharing. I adore you. Thank you for thinking of me for this. And so, yes, my name is Maria Aleandra. I'm originally from Puerto Rico. I lived there pretty much most of my life. And then after college, I moved to Los Angeles, eventually ended up in Miami, which is where I live now. I spent nearly 16 years of my life in corporate America working for a major television and media network. I was in the branding and marketing world. And I got all the way up to being a senior director of branding and marketing. And then in February of 2018, I was laid off. There was some cuts in the various departments, and my job was one of them. And it was one of those, you know, massive shift moments where I was faced with, okay, so what now scenario. And my what now, I realized, had been percolating in the background for longer than I knew, because there was always that, it's that classic scenario of, I know I'm meant for something more. I know I'm meant to influence the world in a more positive way. I had a very deep calling to share my voice, and that hadn't quite like come to be. And a lot of the times I found myself thinking, well, it's just not, it may not pan out that way. And that's okay. I'll do the best I can within this job. I was really good at my job, great salary, great benefits, all the things. Got married, had a son and all that stuff. So great. And then I get laid off, and it's like, oh, okay. And the one thing I knew right from the get-go is while there was a period of instability in my life, it was literally like the rug was pulled underneath me because I did not see it coming. I realized that I didn't want to apply to any traditional jobs at that point, because there was a calling in me to just chart on a different course. And I knew that that was the moment to do that. So I took some time to really understand what were the things that lit me up, what were my passions, what were the things that I was already cultivating. And I want to bring that up now because in this period of changes, shifts, new normal, I bet you that even for those of you out there that are watching and thinking, what the heck now? You've been leaving a trail of breadcrumbs that has been leading you to this new moment. And so rather than seeing this as oh my God, the world has changed, my world has changed, how is this affecting me? Think about how this is like, what's the opportunity? How can this big obstacle actually become the greatest opportunity in your life? Why? Because our character is built through challenges. We are polished through challenges. So whenever we're caught in a spot where things feel really tight and constricting, it's actually your greatest opportunity to shine as your truest self, like to really polish that diamond. So I realized I'd been leaving that trail of breadcrumbs. And then it became, I thought, well, I wanted to be a coach. I had been certified as a professional and life and business coach a few years prior. I'd never really, gone out and done that. I had sort of like dabbled here and there. And I said, okay, this is it. This is it. So then cut to in September of 2018 is when I said, okay, this, I like launched myself on Instagram. It was my first Instagram post. I had my website and it was like, okay, open for business, whatever that means. And then through a series of trainings I did and a lot of personal development and mindset development and lots of juicy things, a lot of which Tiffany and I have actually, done together and have in common. I then emerged into, okay, this is the business. I started to attract clients. I really built something out of nothing, and now have the business, the platform, meaning when I say platform, it's like that space for you to speak your truth, your vision, and yeah, go for it.
Okay, so you just unpacked so much. I have so many questions for you.
I know.
Woo! Yes, I love it. I love it. And first, I just wanted to kind of pause right there as well, just to check in on who's watching and who's connecting with us now. I realized I had my Instagram. I don't know if you guys were able to hear us on Instagram because I had the speaker sitting on a book. So if anybody's on Instagram, if you could just let us know that you could hear as I have it over here, if you can hear us while it's sitting on the book. Yes, we are makeshift because we could not get connected together on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram right now, give us like, oh, thank you so much, Lynn. I appreciate you. Danny, thank you. So you can hear us right now. Amazing. And then I just wanted to connect in with our friends on Facebook. I see we got Beth and Cedra and Erin. Amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I see Rima. I see Erin Mahoney loved that hashtag, whatever day.
Whatever day, right? Okay, we're on that. So, MA.
Yes.
I would love to start with your journey. As I said, you unpacked a lot and I love it. Mm-hmm. And I think what really jumped out at me the most, especially with what a lot of people are thinking about and actually going through right now, is that getting laid off piece. Mm-hmm. So if you could take us back to what was going on in the company, like right before that laid off situation occurred, because, for most people that are getting laid off or have kind of an inquiry about, might this happen to me, I'm going to take a big guess here. 9 times out of 10, they didn't see it coming. So, and I can guarantee most people didn't see this experience where we are right now in March 2020. I don't think very many people saw this coming in regards to their job. So take us back there, kind of like the weeks leading up to it. Like, what did you have any inkling, and like, were you preparing, or was this news that fell in your lap and you got to shift?
Yeah, it was definitely news that fell on my lap and I got to shift. The couple of months leading up to when it happened had been really challenging at work. I could get a sense, and because, and this is another layer to me, is I'm very intuitive. I'm very much like energy driven. I remember I was laid off February, and I remember mid-November having a feeling of like something's going to happen. And I didn't have necessarily the tangible sort of like, this is it. And it was, like I said, it was a challenging period for me. So I had a choice back then to say, well, I'm either going to just kind of play the retreat card and be like, all right, whatever, or I'm going to double down on what I'm doing right now. So I chose to double down and really focus in on my job. I was having some really challenging moments with my boss at the time and the new head of the department. And I'd been in the company for a long time. I had a lot of brain equity in the company, had a lot of people that really loved working with me. And yet there were some new people in the department that now, as I play it backwards, were like arranging things in such a way where they were like crafting their own new team. I get it. It's all, they're a part of their own strategy. Mm-hmm. But the point is that even though I may have had a sense, I wasn't prepared, to the point where my husband and I had just signed a contract on a new home the morning I got laid off.
Wow.
The morning I got laid off, my husband and I had sent off a PDF, signed document to our real estate agent. We had just found a home the weekend prior, fell in love with it, placed an offer, were accepted. It was like that was it. That was the moment of all right, this is our next step. And then cut to, I literally was talking to the guy that does the inspection in the new homes. I spoke with him. I made the appointment for him to come that Friday to see the house, hung up with him, and got the call from HR. Hey, come down to the office. And that was it. And at that moment, I I knew. I had a feeling. I grabbed my notebook. You know how you grab a notebook when you're going to go to a meeting? For all you corporate people out there, you grab your notebook and your pen and you're like, here I go, do. I was like, all right, I know I'm grabbing a notebook and a pen for no reason, because this is what's going to happen.
But wait, can I pause you there? Because I feel there was a reason. And that's a part of our safety and our groundedness. And that pen and notebook might have been your anchor.
Yes. It was like a safety blanket.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it makes sense to me.
Yeah. And I knew that there had been some layoffs here and there. Like, I knew things were shifting in the company. I mean, I was a senior director in a department, so I had some visibility to things happening. And yet I really didn't think at that moment that was going to be what went down with my specific role. So it did. And it was one of those, like, because it was a mass layoff that specific day, it was one of those, like, okay, you have 15 minutes. It wasn't a 2-week kind of thing. It was like 15 minutes, give us your computer, grab your stuff, go home. So here I am, all of a sudden, this happened like at 1:30 in the car. And I was like, what now? And as I go back to, I'm so glad we're tapping into that, because as I go back into that energy, it helps me relive and understand what so many people are living in right now in this moment, that everything has changed. What now? Because all of the structures that kept you in that illusion of like your safety, your sense of control, your sense of like, this is your life, all of a sudden are gone. Poof. Like, I was someone who was in, multiple meetings, I had a lot of responsibility that all of a sudden was like taken away. Now, the transition that's happening now for a lot of people is they're shifting into a virtual working space. So the meetings are there, the emails keep trickling in. Of course, it's like there's a different sense of business as usual. And yet there's so much uncertainty and so much of that, like, what now-ness. And I think the what we can do as leaders and people who really live into vision is speak into possibility, is speak into the what now, the answer to what now is within. And there's a lot of it that has to do with accepting, leaning into the discomfort that you're feeling, leaning into the moment, becoming resourced, not wanting to, like, you know how they say, like, cover the sun with one hand, like when you're trying to like avoid something, because it's like, oh, no, this is all going to be fine. And not like now is not the time to do that. Not from a place of fear and not from a place of like, oh my God, this sucks. No, but from a place of, okay, how do I responsibly navigate through this, like, what now moment?
Yeah, what you say is connecting to it. So not connecting like to it. That example you gave us feels like disconnecting from it, as if it's not the reality, or as if I'm going to handle that later.
Yes.
So what I hear you saying is connect with it. It's still happening. I get to feel my feelings of like worry, fear, concern, or, whatever is organic and happening to each individual, because I can honestly let you know, I've been hearing a lot of stories. Everyone's story is different. So don't think there's this mass, experience going on. We all have a collective unity going on, yet your individual experience right now is so yours, and it is exactly designed for you. So I'm hearing connect with that experience of like, okay, so continue.
Shift from potential avoidance to acceptance, to connecting, to seeing what is. And it's not to like Pollyanna your way through it. It's not about, positive thinking. No, it's about, okay, well, when you connect in with what is, and you become present to it, then you're operating from a space of inner power. You're operating from a space of choice. Choice to me is an energy that, and yesterday you and I were part of a beautiful session that, it is out there in Facebook for anybody there who has a chance to see it. Prior to that, we spoke a lot about choice in that session yesterday. And prior to that, that's a lot of what had been going through in my heart as well, like feeling into the moment of really choosing powerfully how you show up and how you accept and how you choose to lead. and how you choose to be a model for your family, your children, your colleagues, and everybody around you, so that we can all move through this collective experience in a way that, you know, where we're supported, not from a space of the, oh my God, what are we going to do? But okay, well, let's move into a space of possibility. And it doesn't mean,
let's actually do that right now.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
let's
I
take
love it.
everyone who's watching, listening, and whether you're on here live or, you know, you're watching the replay or both.
I gotta say hi. Hold on, I gotta say hi to Dawn. Dawn is one of my former clients and amazing. I love you, Dawn.
Hi, Dawn.
And Erin is loving it.
Well, popping in and out. Jesse, Janelle. Yeah, we got a lot of people popping on. This is wonderful. Thank you guys for joining us. So let's walk through that. So, you know, a lot of people got some news last week. They might be getting it this week. And so let's start with that, because then I have a whole other workability I want to create for those people who are just thinking it and it may not even happen, but they're using their energy just to think about that. So we'll put a pin in that for later. So in your experience, when you got that call, walked down, grabbed your notebook and pen, like, so let's walk through, like, what is something or a way of being that could create the outcome that you want, whether, you know, we know we're not, you know, we already know what the outcome is, but how we be with the outcome.
Yeah.
That's where I would love to share with the audience, like, what we get to create. Because, you know, we're not in, you know, the outcome is the outcome, but how we be with the outcome is our power. Yeah. Is when we're in our power and where we create that peace of mind and that purpose and energy to move forward.
Yeah.
So take us through that.
Oh, so the first thing that came to mind is pause, the energy of really pause, you know, which, you know, no pun intended, we're in a collective pause right now, and to really take that to heart. So if I go back to my experience, when I received that news, I remember pausing. I remember tapping into a place inside that knew that this had been chosen for me, big picture, that a door was closing for a new door to open, that I didn't understand the how, but that as I felt into, like, okay, well, if I come from the space of this has been like, I have chosen this. And I know that it's an interesting phrase. And that's what I believe in, no matter what, you know, challenges or difficulties come into my life. I truly believe I have chosen them. It doesn't mean, oh, this is the best thing. Like, oh my God, yay, I'm so excited. A lot of them I'm like, F this, like, no. And yet I still know I chose this. You said something beautiful earlier, that everybody is going through the experience that's like custom designed for them. So if we go from the space of, you know what, whatever your belief system is, you believe that there's a movement and a flow to your life that is bigger than what you can even think about. And that's a space where it, you know, it's like, it's moving you into areas where you may not have chosen them out of your own, like, you know, your thinking mind. If I go back and I say, you know, for so long I was like, wow, what would it look like if I left my job and pursued the things I wanted to create? So many people think that. And yet I thought in the same breath I went, but no, that's impossible because of salary, benefits, child, da, 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 da. And then in that moment, and that's honestly what's happening right now to a lot of people, I'm getting chills. It's like the universe is going, guess what? That was not your path. Your path is elsewhere. And that's really scary because it's unknown. And I speak into a lot of that, like, how do you lean into the unknown, which is where your intuition takes you and moves you into. And so pausing and understanding that somehow, some way, your soul chose this moment. Like, your soul chose this mission to polish and bring forth the true wisdom, freedom, and truth in you. And so when you lock into that, then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute. Do you know what I mean? You were
Yeah.
gonna say
So let's
something?
go back. Pen and paper in
Mm-hmm.
hand. You're walking
Yeah,
to HR. You chose that moment.
I
What made
did.
you choose that moment?
Why
And
did I choose that
remind
moment?
everyone who's watching when your moment was. So
Yeah.
remind them
Mm.
you were in this job and you got laid
Yes.
off. So give them just like
Yes.
the cliff
Yeah.
notes, new
The
people
cliff
listening.
the cliff notes is, so February 2018, I was laid off from a job that I had been in for many years at a very high level, rock star, like great company was going through shifts. There was a new boss in the department, and then my position was eliminated and someone else was given more responsibilities. It was a strategic, it wasn't a performance-based thing. It was more of a, other things were at play. And so that morning, my husband and I had bought a house. We'd signed a contract on a house. And I went to work all like happy. And I remember the following day we were like taking a tour of our new headquarters because the whole company was moving into this beautiful new building, which is actually even closer to my house. Like all of these things were just like aligning. And then I get the call from HR of like, we've eliminated your position. This is what this looks like. Here you go. And so in that moment, going through the steps of the breath, the pause, just like, okay, this is what is. This is what is.
So thread that needle. What had you choose getting laid off from your job, knowing that you just signed for a new home and this
yeah.
this is the
Yeah, I
reality?
mean, I created that because I had a bigger mission in the world, period. I created that because I desired to create freedom in my life and freedom in the lives of other people. I created that because 3 years prior, I remember writing down in a notebook, when you write down like your 3-year vision, it was like, I work from home, I set my own hours, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm this, I'm that, I have a podcast, all these things. 3 years, this was like, well, now 4 years ago. And I still have those journal entries of writing that. And at the time thinking, no way, like this, like, wow, this feels so incredibly powerful and possible, but man, things would have to change in a radical way. And then they did. And they did. And it had to
Universe
be
delivered.
the universe absolutely delivered, which is why I knew. And one of the things I said earlier on is that in that moment, I remember coming home and I even expressed this to my husband, Jules. I said, babe, the one thing I know right now is that I'm not applying to another traditional job. Like I gave myself a chance to pause and look at sort of the options of where I wanted to head into. And still at the time, my ego was going, well, what I'm good at is this sort of branding and marketing work, which I love. I'm good at that.
The corporate
I'll
job.
do that. The corporate job. Yeah. And what was easy for me to tell people, which a lot of people might be going through this now, is when it's like, okay, the what now? Like I would share, oh, well, I got laid off. Someone asks, oh, what are you going to do now? Oh, well, I'm probably going to open like, some branding consultancy thing or like a marketing consultancy thing, where deep down inside, I knew what I wanted to do was inspire other women to like design their lives and to step into authenticity and to just like rock it. But that sounded at the time like nobody's going to take me seriously. Nobody's going to think that that's right. Like I was like, no. I got to say the thing that sounds right.
Yep.
Now, what do I have? I have, a movement and an online community called Rock Your Life. I have, an Instagram account and community. I have clients and former clients who are absolutely doing amazing things in their life. I'm surrounded by incredible people who are leaders and change makers and visionaries. All the while, my true calling was that change maker, visionary, leader, like way shower and light worker. And because a lot of what I do is very intuitive. It's just who I be. So it's that I chose that, going back to the moment of like, I know I chose that. And I thank the heavens and the universe for that massive shift in my life, as I thank it for the massive shift that we're going through right now.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead, finish that thought.
Yeah, because I see beyond it. I see beyond there's a massive piece of trust that through this incredibly challenging, topsy-turvy time, what we will see emerge is beyond what we can imagine right now.
Yeah.
In terms of how things are going to change. And it's really, really, it's exciting. I know that might be polarizing to say for some, but it's very exciting, I think.
Yeah. And I just want to share with everyone who's watching that, some of what you're hearing us say might feel a little radical, a little disruptive, and we love it. Like we want you to ask us questions about that and inquire. And both Emma and I, we are coaches. We work in the transformational space, and we were in an online session, like a 2-hour online session yesterday with one of our mentors and trainers. And if we were to play a game with that 2 hours, the word transformation came up the most. Like if we were to play that game, like the word game, which word was said the most, and it was the word transformation. And if you really dig in to the word transformation, it's and to me, it almost feels like evolution, like evolving. So transformation is not just about change, it's about creating as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get hooked on change, and then change, in my experience, feels passive. Like something's going to happen and it's going to all be different. Whereas when I think of the word and the experience of transformation, it is change because I'm creating it. I'm designing it. I am a part of this. I'm not waiting for anything to happen or to like magically appear or to luck to land on my door. I'm a part of this. So when you hear us speak in a way that may feel like, what? We're in that world of transformation, of being responsible and being a participant. Like we are not on the sidelines right now. None of us are on the sidelines. And one of the most radical things that I think that was said yesterday was by Aaron Glassman, which was, we don't need permission to go be what we want to be right now. So, and we'll talk about that again later. But I just thought that was the most, for me, refreshing, which is a whole other conversation about our power and our worth and permission and giving and giving our power away. So let's come back to, okay, so you chose to be laid off a year and a half ago. And it was something that, that if in most people's experience, it would be devastating. Like, wow, I got laid off the same day I signed on my new house. And this was your first house or?
Our first house. Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
People would be like, cancel, delete, like what?
Yeah.
So talk about the next steps.
Yeah. So, next immediate step was to call our real estate agent and tell her what happened, get us out of the house. And thankfully, because it was that same day, we had like a grace period. And of course, the person selling the house understood. So that was first order of business. And there was a lot of communication with my husband, with Jules. And I want to bring that in because, and Jules and I have a podcast called The Couple Shift. So for anybody out there who's, and it's so fascinating because we started the podcast as we were shifting our lives into, making very intentional shifts to focus on what really mattered. Our freedom, our time with our son, our abundance. I got laid off, so that was a huge shift. We speak about that in one of the first episodes, which tells the story of goes a little bit deeper into that. And then we made another massive radical shift, which was that he was a teacher, and we chose for him to finish off a school year last year and actually leave that job so that we could both focus on creating what was my business and now is our business together. And if you were to ask my husband I remember a conversation distinctly 3 or 4 years ago where I was like, babe, I just really feel like I don't want to do this corporate thing. I want to be an entrepreneur, but I don't know what that looks like. And he was like, babe, I love you and you're so amazing at so many things. I just don't think entrepreneurship is one of them. And I was like, oh. And I know why he said it. And I know why he said it, because it's a different beast. It requires a different level of how you show up.
Yeah.
And I was really good at making things happen when people sort of like put them on my plate. But when it came time to me executing on my own ideas and my own vision, that took a whole other like power that now I've lit up. And now it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's what gets to happen, which is also a huge point of transition now. But so a lot of communication with him at the time, being very vocal about where I was and what I wanted to create, what my vision was, being very patient with him as he understood or didn't understand. And then I had to re-articulate what I was feeling in the moment, and adjusting and shifting and pivoting and again and again and again. And really becoming I remember doing a lot of brainstorming and a lot of like downloading of what are the things that I'm passionate about, really good at, what are the things that really light me up. I followed coaches and I followed programs and things that helped me articulate that so that I could get it out and start to refine and get the courage around, because it's like when your soul knows what it wants. It does, trust me. But we have right? What?
I said, I know, sister. I'm over here like on my fourth company. I know.
Like your soul knows, but we have so much stuff on top of like how we've been conditioned, our belief systems, what our parents wanted, what our caretakers wanted, what our teachers, what our bosses, what we thought was right, that it hides that like gem of your vision of what that purpose is for you to really emerge and to align with who you're meant to be in this lifetime. And so I did a lot of that, and a lot of it had to do with the courage for me to begin to articulate to myself, this is what you really want. This is what you want. This is what you want. And so, okay. And I always say that, first, like I put it like a little scale of how to really get your vision like going, is you first get the courage to articulate it to yourself. Like stand in the mirror and have the courage to say, you know what, I don't know how, but this is what I really want. And then the courage to articulate it to someone else, a coach, someone who's going to hold you in possibility. Like this can't just be like the random friend that you call. You're like, I want to do this. And they're like, you can't do that. Click. Or our partners who are like, no, honey, I'm sorry. But not, it has to be someone who you're like, who will hold that vision for you and help you see beyond it. And then the next step is articulating it to a broader group of people. It takes a lot of courage to move through that.
A lot.
Courage. It's not just about knowing like, oh, what I want. And I always say your journals are the place where your dreams like will go to die unless you like, yeah. Let's drop a mic right there. Juicy time.
Say it again.
I'm all about journaling, and your journals are the place where your dreams will go to die unless you say, okay, you get to make the choice. We go back to that word. You get to choose to step into, okay, well, I don't know how, and that's okay. That the how is not what's going to get you there ever. And yet I know there's something here. What is the next step is to find a space where you can actually begin to speak the words, speak into truth, that thing that has been buried in your journals, maybe for years and years and years, that now all of a sudden can see the light of day.
So,
and then when you,
MA, what you're telling us to do is to break out those journals and, just give us a wave in Instagram or a thumbs up. Who has a journal or journal, right? Over the times. What a beautiful time right now to go back and reread all of it. And I also offer up start extracting things and in a new journal.
Yes. So thank you. Yes. I did that. I reviewed. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I just wanted to recap it for everyone who's watching. So part one, what I heard you say, just it's like a boulder. That's not even a nugget. That's like bigger than a brick. I talk about bricks all the time, but that's a boulder. Journals are where dreams go to die. That's part one. part two, but we journal, right?
Unless,
Journal
oh,
to
absolutely.
to unload, to dream, to be bigger than the experience we're in the moment. And then part two of that is you get to declare it and put it out there to one person first, right? A confidant, someone that is going to hold it and not discount it. Or there's two ways to discount in my experience. One is like, maybe not. And then the other one is like, yay. Like, it's like the yay to everything. And I'm like, I would love your feedback right now on this.
Yeah.
Not just like, you can do it. Like,
yeah.
I really know. I want to hear what you're feeling.
You don't need it. No poo-pooers and no cheerleaders either.
Yeah.
It's someone that gives you the real talk in possibility.
We have a real person in our life, a real person, because I know back in the day, those are the people I would avoid when things were real. I'm like, I'm not going there. I'm not going there yet.
Right?
I'll get to go there eventually, but not yet.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is journal, get it out. That's where your dreams get to live and be. And I'm going to add in, go back to your journals right now, everyone, and relive, go back and extract, pull forward what matters to you now. And then part two, what I'm hearing you say is connect with somebody who can hold that with you. And then part three of what I heard you say is broadcast it then you share it out as the idea. And the caveat there is you don't need to know how any of this is going to happen. And that's a big one. Even for me and my clients, we always want to know how, right? Like I work with top performers and high level performers. And if we don't know how, we kind of like procrastinate on it, or we skip it, or we think it's not important, or, some of us who have shiny object syndrome, we're going to go on to the next thing. And the big thing is that we never need to know how. We just need to know what matters.
Yeah.
Our vision, and the how will come.
And here's
the commitment to move.
Yes. And I want to say two things is before you broadcast it, like broadcasting can mean a lot of different things. I'm not suggesting you're like all of a sudden like massive posts on Instagram. Hey guys, now I'm gonna, become whatever. Just it means like go to the next level of like opening it up then to the next, So there's that. But yes, like journal, bring out your journals and grab a brand new, like you said, I love brand new journal, crack it open and let that be the place where you now begin to understand what your next is. And I want to say something about, you work with high performers. I also work with a lot of very driven, ambitious, they all come to me with like, okay, so how do I do this? And here's the thing, when we're driven, ambitious and all that, having a beginner mindset is something that we avoid because we want to be so good at it right from the start. Because otherwise then we're like, oh, no. I'm not even going to go there.
Cracking up right now because that was me and Instagram. Guys, Instagram has been the bane of my quarantine. Like was not on top of my Instagram. And MA, Keelan, Ashley, thank you all for your help and support, because that I was like, I don't understand. Like, how do these stories go so fast? How do they expect to read this? It goes too fast. So, and that's the thing, like, I consider myself a top performer, and I just was like, forget it. I'm not, if they're not going to make the story longer, like, or put a sentence in each frame, like I can't.
Right. When she's like, you're just not going to do it. Yeah.
Finger on it. It's so yeah, what a great way to thread the needle there on that. So I want to kind of bring this, finish up this point here, because this is so good. Thank you, MA, for sharing this.
Bring what point together?
I know. It's so good. So
you mean the
unleashing?
Yeah.
Your journal. Part 2, declaring it to one person. 3, unleashing it to more than one person. Like, keep that going.
Yeah.
Person hold your
mind.
And then you were moving into
Well, I want to, like, if we zoom it out, we talked about pausing. We talked about, when a big shift happens, pause, understand and have the courage to know that you chose this, that this was your soul chose this in some way, shape, or form. Like, know that.
That's
Then you move
for people.
Then you move into the exploration, which is where we're like, okay, let's dig out the journals, let's understand what our passions are, and have the willingness and the courage to begin articulating it to ourselves, like literally stand in front of the mirror and go like, this is what I want to do, and I don't know how, but this is. And then I'd say is, let's bring in that, I'm all about mindset, momentum, and magic. So the mindset is that piece of like, okay, well, how do you choose to interact with your world? How your brain processes everything that's happening for you. And that's a big, huge shift. Not living in a victim mentality, knowing that you have choice every single moment, no matter what happens. And then there's a piece of momentum. So that's where we started to dig into the whole, like, be willing to be a beginner at something, like be willing to, because guess what? Right now, there's a lot of people that are beginning to do something that maybe they never thought they'd do before. Whether it was, how many people never hopped on like a Zoom meeting? Like, a lot of us used to work virtually, so that may not be new for some, but I
comment there if you're just Zooming for the first time, like starting in March.
I'm sure a lot of people are. And I want to just a quick note here, like, how on YouTube a lot of the celebrities are doing the stay home series that they're like performing from home with their piano and their guitar, and it's beautiful. And so many of them, I watched a couple yesterday, they have no idea what to do. They have no idea what they're doing. They're literally like, this is the first time I'm going live on Instagram, because they usually have people do it for them. And they usually have, they're used to performing at a massive stage. And then when they get on the phone, they're like, so I apologize if I'm a little nervous right now. And you can see that they are. They're like, I'm sweating right now because I'm not used to this. So everybody is going through something so new. And what if we just shifted into, okay, so I get to be a beginner. Forget about, I forget about this. One of my favorite quotes that I have for myself is, this is a goal, not a test. So this is a goal. This is a new thing. This is a new thing I'm moving into. I'm learning. It's not a test. Because for those of us driven peeps, everything is like a test of our worth, of our capability, of how good we are. So then if on Instagram it doesn't look the way we thought it was going to look, then we're just not going to do it there because, you know what I mean? So shifting that and that beginner mindset, so you can actually start building momentum into what it is that you want to create.
I love it. So, just as we started, for those of you who are just hopping on towards the end of this, I had no idea we'd be talking this long, and I'm thrilled that we talked this long, because I'm sitting here right now, I'm like, I could keep going and going. And those of you that really know me know that I could keep going, going. And I love all the comments. Both MA and I are going to come in and answer all the comments once we complete here. Because of the technical setup, it was challenging for us to be here with you, and also I would have to do this to connect with you. So we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna, because I'm coming back every day at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 Pacific Standard Time. Tomorrow, Jennifer Nealon is going to be joining me. She is a very incredible lawyer, mom, wife, an amazing human being that lives right here in the DMV area where I live. We're going to be talking about parenting and just executive functioning. I think that's her term that she brought to me. She is actually one of my clients as well. So we're going to have a really cool jam session tomorrow. So MA, in closing, and you're definitely coming back on, by the way, you know that.
Oh, please. Listen, guys, Tiffany and I had a list that was obviously way too ambitious, because hello, that's how we roll. Our list was like, oh, we're going to talk about this and we're going to talk that. Yeah. We're going to talk that. Oh my God, this is going to be so great. Yeah. At first she was like, oh, this is going to be like 15 or 20 minutes tops. And I'm like, knowing us, it's probably going to be a little bit longer. So yes, I'd love to come back. So I want to share. So one thing I want to, the big sort of, is this is a moment to lean into your gifts for the greater good. Think about that. Think about how this moment, this challenge, this shift, this change, and journal on that today. Like actually put pen to paper. How can this support you? How is this calling you forth to emerge in a whole new way, to show up in a whole new way? Because your someday is like right now. Like the energy of, well, wouldn't it be cool if ... Like, no, that sort of someday, what, like it's happening now. There's this pulsing sort of open opportunity for you to really show up. And don't be afraid of showing up in your light, in your power, of being visible right now. There's a lot of conversation around, well, what am I supposed to say now? Because I don't want to be insensitive. I want to be responsible. We get to be responsible. We get to play in community. We get to support each other. And that doesn't mean don't share your light. If humor is your gift, be humorous. If art is your gift, use your art. If you're a teacher, teach online. Like show up to service and support and be in service to the world at this time where we're all coming up. And if you're an entrepreneur, make your offers, generate the income. Like don't be afraid to keep that going, because we're also part of that wheel that must keep turning. We support other businesses. We keep other people going. And if you're in corporate and you're like, you know what, I've always wanted to fill in the blank, like what a beautiful time to explore and really, really get like no joke, like go into it, have the support, surround yourself with incredible people to do it. Because that's what, that sense of purpose through this moment, it's what's going to light you up. It's going to light your family up. You will see the shifts that you cultivate from within show up in everybody around you. I also want to put a plug in to, obviously, whoever is meeting me for the first time, follow me on Instagram and all the places, and listen to the podcast I co-host with my husband. It's called The Couple Shift on Google, Apple, Spotify, everywhere.
Yeah, we'll post all that in the comments.
Yeah, and because part of the conversation we're having there, it's sort of the behind the scenes of how we're building our business, living our life, and all the things. And we've been talking about shifts for the past 6 months, and now it's like this collective new, like, okay, here we go. Yep. So it's a really beautiful space where you get to hear from our perspective. And definitely follow this series, because people are coming together in such beautiful ways of giving and sharing and talking, and like, so contribute. Like take Tiffany's invitation of like, if you want to be on, do it. Like send her a note, and show up.
Speaks so into, the piece of like, your someday is now. The someday is here. It's been here for over a week. Like if we want to get that pulled back. But honestly, it's interesting, because I've always been one of these people that has just gone. I'm running. I'm out the gates. And, I won't lie. Most of the time it doesn't work. But, at the same time, I've never been someone who's turned around and been in regret or, what if, never in that mode. So now we have this beautiful pause right now to experiment with all of those things that are in your journal, all those things that are in your heart, all of those projects that are a quarter of way done, halfway done, or haven't even begun. This is our moment right now. And, even speaking to, the bigger piece that we talked about earlier, the person who either has gotten laid off or is in that space of that might be you, that this is your moment. This is not, and I coach so many people going through the job cycle. And, because one of the things I support people with is landing their dream job. So I work with a lot of people that have incredible jobs, but they are ready for their dream job. So we're constantly looking at the opportunity and who they are. And everyone wants to get right into it. They want to go right for like the resume and looking for jobs. And I'm like, let's get connected with what that is. What is that dream job? What is your, and in my world, I call it professional purpose. Like, what is that? What's calling you? And I know we all have a calling, like an inner knowing of what you want to do, what you want to contribute in the world. And, you know, some people are like, well, I'm not sure if I can make money doing that. You better believe you can make money doing whatever your heart is calling you to do or to be right now.
Yeah.
And even before right now.
Yeah.
So with that, any other final words as we complete?
No, I mean, yeah, just remember, we all have the choice all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. And to really look at it as a time to co-create. Like, don't worry so much about don't worry about what's next. Like, definitely explore what's next. Don't worry about it, and choose to focus on where you are now.
Yeah.
Focus on what's essential. This is a great time to focus in on what really, really, really matters. And nothing else will ever be the same. Whatever that looks like, it will never be the same. And that could either be the most horrifically terrifying thing, or an amazing space of like, okay, then what now? So that's, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Maria Aleandra, MA. I love you. And, you know, even just circling in on that point, that I just came up with this idea on Thursday, and it's happening today.
Here it is.
So, and to be honest, you guys, we just put a title on it 1 minute before we jumped on. So at 12:29, I was going to call it Productivity and Peace of Mind. She canceled productivity. So she's too much. It's too much. I'm like, I work with corporate. So it's now called Power and Peace of Mind. And maybe
you said something else. You said power, purpose, and peace of mind.
Purpose is like my jam anyway.
Right. I think it's the 3 Ps.
Okay, it could be. See, there we go. It's power, purpose, and peace of mind. And by tomorrow, it could be something else.
And it will probably have a logo by tomorrow.
I don't go down that route. But again, I want to extend the invitation for anyone who's watching this live or watching this on the replay. You are invited to come play on this interview series. Reach out to me in any form. I mean, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. All my channels are up and live. I don't know how we did on Instagram. We'll find out. And it's okay, because, you know, people know where to find us. I love each and every one of you that is watching today. Just know I see you. I understand you. I hold you high. I am always here. You do not have to wait until 12:30 or 9:30 tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday. I am always here. MA is always here. We're going to pop some other things in the comments here. And we are both dedicated to looking at your comments and responding to all your comments today. So I love you. I'll see you tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Mwah.
And share with your friends. Click that share button. Share.
Yes, we would really appreciate that.
Yeah. Love you all. Mwah.